Okay. Could I swap switches and stuff? Yeah, I probably could, but make sure I got the right breaker off. But I'm not going to. I'm gonna take this one back off. Put it back where I found it. Rascal rabbit. Come on. Okay. This one. I don't know why they wrap their ground wires like that, you know, around things, but they do. I wouldn't really install it this way. I would slightly do it a different way. Okay. Make sure you get them pushed in all the way. Okay, if you are going to use the back. All right. And where is the ground wire? It's down at the bottom. Okay. It's just an easy way to do it, to use the holes in the back. The only problem with that is if you don't push it in there hard enough, or if these are old and if they've lost their spring tension, this could be loose. And then when you shove it back into the box, it could cause a slight disconnect. So when you're hitting the switch, it could go and turn on, off, and then pretty soon it's off. And it might just be as simple as making sure that those are tight. And then if you don't want to do that, strip the wire back further, make a loop on it, and then wrap it around your screw, and then tighten it down on the screw, and then you're for sure certain that nothing's ever going to happen. You see what I mean? Okay. And so now I'm gonna take these back and push them back in here, and kind of line it up. Make sure I can push it all back, and I can, because the good thing is this is a 3-gang box, meaning 3 switches, 3 gang, and these wires are only 14 gauge, so I got plenty of room to spaghetti these back in. I make kind of like an S, like that, and so I can kind of push those wires back in there. Okay, and let's see how this one's going to go up. Maybe up and then back down. See, 14 gauge wires are really easy to work with. 12 gauge, they're a little stout, they're stiffer, so they're just a little bit more tricky to get in. And so when I get it in there, I want to make sure that the light switch goes in and is not kinked one way or the other, and it looks like when I'm screwing this in, it's going to be fine. Okay, and so let's just do it, eh? I hope the light is still gonna be okay showing this on the video, because there's not a whole lot of light in here, but it's the best I can do. They're in there making puzzles, yakking away, and there's not much light out in the hallway anyways. That's why I got the door closed and such. I don't like using the battery operated drill anyways when I get to this point, because I like to go by feel with the screws, so I don't strip anything out per se. Some guys like to just, then you still have to check it, and And the reason why I don't like doing that is also if you get it in there and it's not going all the way, you might think, oh, I'm just going to ram the screw in. I want to make sure that's in there. I'll just ram the screw in and go in. But if you're hitting a wire back in there, or a wire nut or something like that, you got to remember these screws are only going into a plastic box. And you might kink the back of this, you might push these prongs in, this could stick out too far, you might screw up your whole light switch, basically. Okay, so before I push it in there, I want to look at these to see if I can tilt them and if they're going to line up straight, and it looks like they're going to be straight. Okay. Because if they were slightly tilted, when you just get the screws in, you might be able to take this and kind of twist it with your fingers. And if not, you may have to pull it back out and give it a good wrenching. You know. Okay, so I'm still pondering what the heck is going on with that ceiling, that exhaust fan and light combo here. You got any thoughts on it? What would you do? What would you do? I was talking to my auntie and she said, just go ahead and replace it. And I said, well, the thing is, it might not just be the fan in there, you know? There could be, well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but there could be certain things that really have nothing to do with the fan wiring up there or what have you. If there's a rat that chewed through there. And it's not as simple as you would think. Oh yeah, just take that fan out, go up in the attic, crawl around, undo a few screws, undo the wiring, and have at it. Well, your new fan might be a different size. You may have to cut it. You might be close to an eave, so you're going to have to be on a belly like I'm going to have to be. There might be blowing insulation in there that's all in your way. You know, lots of things. And there's the flexible duct on there that takes the exhaust up to the roof. You know, that's got to be disconnected. And there's probably screws in it. There's probably duct tape on it. All kinds of stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna line this one up first. Doesn't have to be in the exact same location. No, but it just gives me a reference point. Once I put the cover on, I'll do some more tweaking probably. This first screw is hard. I don't know why it's so hard to get in there. Good grief. All the other screws went in fine. That's why I was hoping, well, I was wanting to make sure I was in the right hole. Sometimes if you're not paying attention, you might think you're in there. You might be not even in the screw hole. I've done that before. I'm like, how did I do that? And how did it feel like it was tightening up? Okay. So I'll get that, fairly snug, but I'll tighten it up once I put the cover on. Chances are I'm going to have to do some minor adjustments. Anyways, okay. So there, we got it that far. Now I've got my cover. Remember, somebody had caulked it on the back. I don't know. I'm not sure why they did that, but they did. Somebody did. So I'm just going to kind of clean that off so it fits on there. I'm gonna look on there and see. I'll be able to see what I have to do. This one here, I gotta slightly move. Yeah, to there, to the left. Now I can kind of cinch that up, and that looks pretty good. But man, for some reason, I don't know what the deal is with that one. Almost looks like the light switch is low. Not sure how that could be. This middle one could be slightly over, just a hair. Because even when they fit in the notches, in these notches, they're still, you can kind of see just barely that one side or the other might have to be moved. Do you see what I mean? And so I like to check mine. And it just doesn't take much longer to adjust anything before you go ahead and put it up there. And I think that's what was happening too. This switch here almost seems like it could go up, like it should go up, but more times than not, you shouldn't have to push up on something. It did go just a hair. Okay. Alrighty. There, that's looking nice. That's looking nice. That's where it was before. And it looks pretty straight. If it was slightly off, and if I wanted to raise the left-hand side up, let's say, I'd have to undo this, push this one over to the right, push this one over to the right, push this one over to the right. And it almost looks like it's low, but I think it's okay. Okay. And with this type of switch, see how small the screws are, how short the screws are? There's only so much you can do to get them tight. And once they're slightly snug, leave them alone. You know, don't think, I want them all to left and right or all facing straight up and down. And you go to turn this one a little bit more and snap, and you crack this. I've done it before, and then it's a pain, because do you want to leave a crack in there and go back to the store or crazy glue it, and you know it's always going to have a crack in it. So I just kind of put them on there, and wherever it feels like it's kind of snug, I just leave it. Okay. Okay, now I've got to go back, turn the power back on, make sure my light's working before I call that good, and then we'll talk a little bit more on what I'm going to have to do next. Well, that's all I got for this time, but I'll be back with more videos. I never know what I'm going to show next, so you might want to just stick around and see. It might save you some money around the house.